Hey everybody, welcome to Campus Comics Cast, coming to you from Carbondale, Illinois, with special guests from the Campus Comics crew. And now, here's your host, the man with the previews in hand, Mike No.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Campus Comics Cast. This is a very special, very weird EC Comics style episode. We are a man down, as you may have heard. Mike No has been stricken with the techno-organic virus, and Cable came back in time and took him to the future. They're going to fix him all good in the future. No, on a very serious note, Mike has, and this will become apparent soon, I'm sure Mike will be talking about this on his own, but about a week ago, Mike suffered a stroke, and he has been hospitalized for a number of days. He is back home and recuperating. When I spoke to him yesterday, his exact words were, "I'm in my recliner and I'm watching Parks and Recreation." So if you know Mike, that is effectively Mike saying, "I'm in my happy place." So he is doing well and, like I said, recuperating. He told me they expect him to make a full recovery, but it's going to be a little bit. So no worries for Mike on that front. The store isn't going anywhere. There may be some abbreviated hours at times, and there may be some unexpected closures like there were as things proceed. But between me and Dan and some other folks in the shop, we're going to do our best to keep the ship steered in the right direction, and then Mike will be back on his feet and back to full time before you know it. So we are doing the previews podcast today. If you've listened before, I'm sure you're familiar with how it goes. So this is a rundown of products that we think are cool or things that we just want to bring to your attention from the April previews. This is for products shipping in June of 2019. The cutoff for the order is April 25th. And as always, we are here in the stately Mike No manor at 816B East Main Street in Carbondale, Illinois. We are in Campus Comics. So let's roll. I think we're going to start with the DC section, right, guys?
Well, let's say, and then joining.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot to do an actual introduction. I was just assuming everybody knew who was here.
Yeah,
so,
it was Scott Reed and
Dan Brown.
There we go.
And I guess I should have introduced myself. Look at me, just assuming everybody knows the mouthy guy is Matt.
Yeah.
Which probably everybody does. So I felt weird every time I would post that it was a Matt day. I would think, there are some people who are like, oh, it's a Matt day. And then there are people who are like, oh, great, it's a Matt day at the store. He's going to be loud and mean. So he'll tell me what he thinks about things. So, all right, so we're going to roll in with the DC section
stuff.
First.
So page one, we got Event Leviathan. I guess this is spinning out of Superman.
Yeah, out of the action section of Superman, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they could have come up with a better name for this.
I know, right? Like, War of the Realms is not called Event of the Realms.
Yeah, yes. It's like, well, we're going to do the big Leviathan event. What should we call it? Leviathan event? No. Switch it up like Year Zero.
Yeah. It's Event Leviathan. I feel like they're trying to make a joke about like Event Horizon, but the joke is not landing, and it feels like someone sent a spreadsheet to production and it said event and then parentheses Leviathan. Like they were like, oh, you guys, this is our event. And someone was like, Event Leviathan, got it, print it, let's roll. It just feels like a mistake was made. But despite the bad title, I'm super excited.
I was wondering, because you've been reading Action, right?
Yeah, I think Superman is okay. But it's like I said last time, it's a Superman punches things kind of book,
right?
And right now it's been sidetracked with all the Jor-El and Jonathan growing up stuff. But Action Comics has been really a lot of fun. I like that it kind of ties into. I'm a big DC fan, but I like a lot of B-list DC, so I like Checkmate and all of these weird factions that you don't see very often. And that's why I love Greg Rucka at DC for so long. Was he brought all of that stuff sort of out of the shadows and did a Checkmate book for 20 issues.
Right.
So I'm really happy to see some lesser characters, like the Question is here on the front, which makes me very happy. I don't even care which version of the Question it is. It's fine. All of them are fine. I love that as a concept. So I'm pretty psyched. And it's Alex Maleev who has a real strong tie to Bendis, and that's another good thing too, right? Like you've got an artist who has an association with a writer, and they work well together. So that script has been tailored for that artist.
Yeah, I haven't been reading any Action, but I'm planning on picking this up just because of Bendis Maleev. I mean, their run on Daredevil was just so good that I just want to, I want to see what's going to happen here. So
It is if you're not a longtime Marvel fan, if you're a heavy DC person, but if you think about how like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo just work well together because they're buddies, or like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips work well together because they've done so many books together, and you know that when that writer writes the script, they have that artist in mind for these scenes, and that like synergy really works, and it brings out the best from both guys. It makes it really a book worth reading.
So right
page
after
2,
that,
yeah, go ahead.
We've got Superman Year One. We've got the new DC Black Label book. Maybe we'll get this one. We'll see. Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Telling their version of the Superman origin.
I assure you, Dan DiDio has vetted this thoroughly to make sure that there's nothing under the trunks, if you will.
Now, one thing about this is like I generally like John Romita Jr. artwork. I despise his Superman. I just think it looks bad. So I don't know.
Well, we've got a pretty thin-looking Superman here from Romita Jr., who usually draws his guys too bulky, if anything.
I do like the Golden Age logo on his chest, though.
Well, that's kind of nice.
That's a nice touch.
But I just don't know what I think about the artwork on this. When he even did because he was on in Rebirth, he did Superman for a while, or not in Rebirth, in New 52, he did Superman for a while, and it just was a little lackluster, the art. I just didn't care for his style on Superman.
If Mike were here, we'd be getting a big sigh. He's not a Romita guy. And he and I have gone around and around. I loved Romita's Spider-Man. But I think he draws like a sense of motion really, really well, which I know sounds like an obvious thing, but not everybody does that. That's what we talked about this in the last podcast. What makes Scott Collins so great. Scott Collins' Flash looked like it was moving really fast, and that's harder apparently than it sounds like it would be. And his Spider-Man looked like it was flying through the air and really flipping over things. And so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Superman again from him. But I'm with you. I look at that first thing and I'm like,
Yeah, I like everything else he does, but Superman. Yeah. It's my all-time favorite Punisher image is a John Romita Jr. image.
The big broken nose.
No, actually, it was in a handbook, Marvel handbook. There was the first Marvel handbook entry of the Punisher as a John Romita Jr. piece of art. It's a very different style, but
he's a guy that when I first got into comics in the early '90s, I did not like him, and I remember when I came back because I was like a Jim Lee overdrawn, super smooth kind of art, and then when I came back to comics later when I was in college, I was like, what was I thinking? He is amazing. How did I not like this guy? But I didn't like Jack Kirby when I was 11 either.
I was the same way.
I remember thinking it's okay, but I don't get why this guy's so famous. And then later I'm like, what was I sniffing glue? Why would I not have seen how great this is? But just taste change.
Well, I just remember I saw an interview with Romita Jr. one time, and he described his style. Like people asked, "Well, what's your style?" He said, "Well, my style is deadline style." So he'll draw whatever he tries to draw to get it done on time.
I think you get that with second generation artists. You grew up, in that. So like if anything, this should be on time.
Yeah. Well, if it's late, it's not Romita. Let's just say that.
Probably not.
But also I think Frank Miller has a pretty interesting view of Superman based on like Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And all those storylines. So I'm interested to see what Frank Miller's take on the origin of Superman.
He has been saying he is a fan.
Yeah,
it's not going to be critical of
Superman. I like
kind of
Frank Miller's interpretation of Superman.
Right.
So
I think a lot of people saw Frank Miller's Year One and thought that this was like the only thing worse would have been Garth Ennis's Superman Year One. Right? We were like, oh great, Superman's an idiot in this one. But I know I've heard the same thing, and it was a little surprising to think that it's going to be a straight take on it. It's not satirical at all.
Right.
But also it's going to be Black Label, so it's outside of regular DC continuity, so it doesn't really
it's not
matter
driving
too
over the top
much.
of anything else.
On page 5, we've got Superman of Smallville, a new entry in the Zoom line, and this is from Art Baltazar and Franco of Tiny Titans and Superman Family Adventures, so should be a good book there.
On the page before that Harley Quinn book, it's not for us 40-something guys, but man, that book is gonna crack every young adult reader list. It's gonna sell so many copies. My God, every Hot Topic in the world will have a spinner rack of that book, right? So and it is good on them. That's a lot of fun.
So on 13, we've got Batman 72. We also have issue 73 though, which I believe has got a different cover now.
Yeah.
And they've said that we've got Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne Batman on the cover. Apparently, is not going to be in this story now.
Oh.
They've announced since this came out. So just let everybody know that.
And I thought we'd seen this cover before.
Yeah, I think they actually used it in the last previews, and then they were like, "Whoopsie!" And they've
All
rearranged it anyway.
I don't have anything for a while.
Yeah,
I don't have
here.
anything until 21.
Yes, page 20, Deathstroke. I guess something happened in the Terminus agenda, right? So
Yeah.
Deathstroke is allegedly dead.
Which
I
we
guess
don't know yet.
I
I haven't read it yet. So
I was
don't
just
know.
about to say, the only thing I want to throw out here is I don't have an opinion on this, but man, I love that cover
Yeah.
of Brainiac and Sinestro and everybody at Deathstroke's coffin. So yeah, you're right. I
Was
haven't
Deathstroke
read
part of the Legion of Doom?
Well, he's
in
gonna be in the
Johns' stuff.
cinematic.
I mean, in Snyder's stuff. You mean? I don't think he is he? I don't
No,
remember
not
him being in
Justice
it.
League run.
But I mean, I guess he could be
Looks
later.
like they think he is.
Yeah.
With his turnout.
Mine's on 21. Did
Nope.
either of you guys read Dial H for Hero yet?
No.
The new one?
No, not yet. I've
Like-
picked it up. I haven't got to it
Liked
yet.
it a lot. I thought it was
Really?
really fun.
Now, one comment on this, and this is actually on several of these Wonder Comics books, is that these are all except for Young Justice are now 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah, I don't-
and they weren't originally solicited
I don't
as
think
that. I
so.
don't
And
think.
And here's
so.
my hot take: Young Justice is the worst book in Wonder Comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like
so?
I like all of the other ones better.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not hating on Young Justice. I think it's very all over the place. His like attempt to write a clever story with like different viewpoints and back and forth in time makes it really hard to follow what's going on month to month. Whereas the other ones have been like, have you read any of the other Wonder Comics books?
No.
Wonder
I have
Twins.
issue
is
one
fun.
of Naomi, but I haven't read it yet.
I did read the first Wonder Twins.
I love Wonder Twins. I think it's awesome. I love Dial H for Hero, and I think Naomi. I said it last time. I'm so sure Naomi is going to be. Well, now I'll look back and I'll be like, oh, how stupid Matt was. But I still think that's where they're going to use to lead in Legion. And here's why I say that. For all the reasons I said last time about that it's, it ties to Superman and it's like some sort of mystery small town thing. But now that they've announced that Naomi is a mini, it will end right around the time of San Diego Comic-Con, which would be around the time that you could drop that. And they said this is the end of season one.
Season one,
There's going to
yes.
be more later. So there could totally be an announcement at Comic-Con to then lead off on the other stuff. So we'll see. But Dial H for Hero, very fun. I liked it a lot.
And speaking of Naomi, which we'll talk about again here in a minute, but that first issue is actually pretty hot right now. So if you have a copy of that, you should take good care of it. Page 23. Just Detective Comics 1006. I like this. We got a giant Spectre, the Gotham, skyline with the bat symbol bouncing off of his chest, which I really think is a really, really cool image. Except for the fact I don't know about his like 10 to 12 pack that he has for his stomach
He's
muscles.
got
there.
abs
It's a little
on
bit,
abs on
yeah,
abs.
it's a little bit extreme there, but
it's extreme for God's vengeance. The guy who turns people into his fingers.
He spends a lot of time doing crunches. I don't know, so.
The only thing that got me about that detective is, as a guy who skipped a lot of the New 52, Jim Corrigan's the Spectre again? I don't remember. I can never keep track of who the Spectre is. Like, it wasn't, in pre-New 52, it was, I can't think of his name. He was one of the guys from...
Crispus Allen.
Yeah, Allen. There you go. But he was one of the guys from the Gotham
Central book.
PD. Yeah, he was in Gotham Central. And then...
It was Hal Jordan for a while. And then it was him.
And then the new one was Crispus,
Yeah.
and then they just, I guess, like a lot of things in the pre-New 52 to New 52 to Rebirth, they were just like, it's not like that anymore. So I mean, I'm fine. Like, I don't care. I like Jim Corrigan Spectre too, but it was a little. I thought, did I miss something? Did they undo that? Does Crispus Allen exist and they haven't shown him in Rebirth,
Yeah.
but they also haven't really shown like Montoya or any of a lot of those folks.
no.
So I don't know.
I think they're probably just waiting to see what they want to do.
Yeah.
I have 25 marked, but to be honest, for the life of me, I can't remember why, other than I love Big Barda, and that's probably why I marked it, because I love Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. So.
My next thing's not till 39, so.
Well, on 34, we've got Justice League number 25, and this does have the header of the Year of the Villain continues here. I will predict this Year of the Villain lasts about 6 months before they bail on it.
And I'll take the over-under. I'll change the other way. I bet the Year of the Villain goes more than a year, because none of it will not finish on time. They'll be like, the Year of the Villain rolls on! And it'll be like the 14 or 15 months of the villain.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty excited about it. I think, I just told somebody the other day, I don't think that Scott Snyder's Justice League is like, it ain't literature, man. Like, it's not deep character work or anything, right? But it's Scott Snyder writes a really great superhero story, and where superheroes do superhero things. And I know that sounds obvious, and they should all be that, but it's not as easy as it sounds, I guess. And he writes a really fun, a team book. And for a guy who's mostly noted for writing just solo Batman, it's kind of impressive to see how well he handled not only a big cast of heroes, but a big cast of villains too. So that part's got me pretty optimistic.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite Justice League since Morrison and Porter's JLA run. You know,
I like Mark Waid's JLA, but that's just because I love Tower of Babel so much.
Yeah.
Because of course I do, because it's a Batman story. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think I can't think of anybody who's done a better job in between them.
yeah.
Nope.
Page 39, Naomi, last issue for the first story arc is solicited, so just a reminder if you've been picking that series
I
up.
don't see a Legion ring on her finger, but maybe
Not yet.
maybe it'll be on there when the book comes out.
It could be a bait and switch like Marvel's doing in all their previews.
It probably will be, and then everyone will laugh that I was so sure it was Legion. I have page 40 marked, and I think I just had it marked to tease Dan about Rick Grayson because it's such a stupid idea.
Hey, he's still won that bracket.
He apparently is doing his own makeup too, as you can see, Dan. That he has the smoky eye real heavily on there.
That's maybe he's getting his own CW show.
This cannot be better than him being called Dick Grayson and just being Nightwing, man. Like, I know Dan DiDio hates Dick Grayson, but like this isn't better. It's just sort of bizarre. All right, what's the next thing you guys
Page
got?
45.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to mention last issue of The Silencer.
Yep.
So
Is that
we're down
officially
to
it, other than Terrifics?
Other than
Yeah, I think
Terrifics, which
so.
is on issue 17.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that Terrifics will go to 18, and then
Yeah.
it will be its final issue next month.
I am legitimately surprised that they kept the Terrifics going after Jeff Lemire left.
Yeah.
I thought when he said he was done, I thought for sure the next month it would say final issue and he would be on it. But they've got it rolling on for at least a little bit longer. On page 50, the last issue of the Wildstorm. Am I the only one of us that reads it?
Yeah, I'm not reading it.
Oh man, I love it. It's so fun.
I read the first one and wasn't crazy about it.
It is thoroughly decompressed, and I probably would have enjoyed it more if I just waited and bought the trades, if I'm being honest, because I've kind of done it myself. Like I for a while, I just let them sit in my box, and then I powered through all of them. And reading them that way, the story felt like it moved a lot faster because I just like went issue. And then I've caught up and I've been monthly on it for a bit now, and it doesn't bother me as much. But it is really slow to get rolling. But I really loved it, and obviously it's a Warren Ellis book, but man, it's such a Warren Ellis book, right?
Yeah.
It's about like weird alien biotech and drug addicts and all sorts of strange creations and body modifications, and it feels very Warren Ellis, but within the confines of what DC will let you do in a DC book.
But it's still like its own continuity, right? Like this isn't tied into the Rebirth
So,
continuity or anything.
No, and were you reading when the JLA was in it?
No.
There are alternate versions of the JLA.
Oh, okay.
Barry Allen was in it, Green Arrow was in it, and Diana was in it. So Green Arrow showed up. Oliver Queen was like the most dangerous game. He was a rich guy who hunted people on an island. Barry was basically a drug addict vigilante, and they wanted his speed formula. And Diana was a god, but she was, like an old school blood and thunder Greek god kind of person. She was not great. The only thing that throws me about this is that when he announced this, it was supposed to be 24 issues, and every 6 they were going to launch another one of the tie-in books. There were supposed to be 4 total Wildstorms, and they did do the Michael Cray book at issue 6, so there were 2 books running together. Well, Michael Cray kept rolling, and then there was never another book, and then Michael Cray ended, and there's never been another book.
Yeah.
And I Googled, and I found an interview with Ellis where he said that, there's still plans, but they aren't ready to talk about it. And a lot of people think it's just going to be Gen 13 and the Authority, which is fine. They've seeded that in here, but it's kind of weird that there have been no announcements, and I wonder if the sales are like not such that they are willing to give it
Probably
2 more
not.
books, and it's probably not.
I kind of wish they would just incorporate like they did before with the New 52.
I do too.
I feel like these characters would have a longer lifespan if they were.
I would like them to be a parallel Earth. I don't want them to actually be on the DC Earth. I think they feel weird when Apollo and Midnight are in the same universe as Superman and Batman. Parody Superman and Batman feels weird alongside real ones. And I love Apollo and the Midnighter.
Right.
I wish they were on an alternate Earth. Just give them their own alternate Earth, and I would think that would be really great.
Back on 47, we've got Superman number 12. I just want to point out this really nice Adam Hughes variant, kind of Fleischer style pin-up he's doing.
And since he's starting issue 12 and we haven't heard about him switching books, apparently my prediction was wrong, saying that Brian Michael Bendis was going to do 2 story arcs on Action and Superman and then be done. So apparently he's going to at least start the 3rd story arc on both of those books. So just FYI, I was wrong.
All right.
There you heard it.
You heard it here first.
Right.
Scott Reed was
That's right.
wrong.
It's recorded for all history.
Exactly.
Well,
I was very quiet about it.
It's not. It'll all get drowned out in all my predictions about Naomi. It's going to be fine.
I'm sure if we go back, nobody wants to hear our predictions we've made that have gone wrong.
So, page 57, we got the Absolute Dark Knight 3, the Master Race. So we have, hardcover compiled edition of it, all the short stories, all of the one-shots that were associated with it. So, of course, retail price $125 is a little steep. I actually really enjoyed this story. I liked all the alternate takes, all the future takes on some of the main DC characters. I think I may have been in the minority on that, but yeah, so still pretty good.
Yeah. My next thing is on 62. We've got the Crisis on Infinite Earth box set.
Yeah, for the Crisis fan who already has everything.
Right. So this is hardcover collections of the main story, all the tie-ins, all the specials and everything. So what's it work out to be? It says somewhere.
I don't know. It's 28 pounds.
Yeah. I thought there was a page count somewhere.
I don't see the page count. I see the price. That's one other thing that really gets me.
It is a pricey $500 for this nice set. What also is kind of misleading is they use the George Perez Alex Ross big poster art for the box, but that is not what this will look like.
Yeah, art not final.
Yeah, the box will be by Nicholas Scott and Jerry Ordway.
Oh, okay.
I am kind of interested in this. I might see what kind of discount I could get on it first, but this might be a nice kind of thing to have. Especially, if you're a Crisis fan, too, probably want to check it out.
Did you have anything before 60?
I just had on 56 the Animal Man by Jeff Lemire omnibus is on there, and that's New 52 stuff, and it was, in my opinion, one of the best things. I don't have a lot good to say about most of the New 52, but anything Lemire did was good, and his Animal Man was creepy and awesome, and it really did not fit in New 52 at all.
It tied in well, though, with Swamp Thing,
though. And that's what I say was, and I'm hoping that, they get a whole collection of both, and that's really worth having.
On page 70, we've got the Joker trade. This is the Brian Azzarello Lee Bermejo story, and this is now part of DC Black Label. This is the first time we've got a trade of it, I guess, as opposed to a hardcover, but a really solid story there. On 73...
Well, hold on, back on 65. They do have a Flashpoint box set as well.
But nobody wants that.
Well, I think this story is a little bit underappreciated. Now, it ultimately is the reason why we ended up with New 52 like we did, because this was a story that created the New 52. They never promoted it as that, but that's ultimately kind of what we got, and then I'm sure in hindsight they regret it, but there were some nice interpretations of characters and a couple of, oh my goodness moments for me reading Flashpoint. You can get this for less than $100, but if you want a box set of it that has all the alternate stories and such, you can get that, get it here.
Yeah. Now, having said that is kind of my issue with Flashpoint. Is I don't believe it was intended to be an introduction to the New 52. I think that's what it ended up being.
Really?
Had it just been a standalone thing like the Sinestro Corps War or some of the other series Jeff Johns had done like that, I think it'd be a much better story and probably more fondly remembered than it was.
I buy it as the tie-in. He changed the timeline, and it was the impact of it is why we had New 52.
Yeah.
So.
On 73, we've got the Swamp Thing Roots of Terror Deluxe Edition, which collects some different specials they've done, but it also collects the Swamp Thing Halloween Horror Giant #1 that was previously Walmart exclusive.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like this is the first collection, of any Walmart material that will be available to comic shops.
Did you see, by the way, speaking of the Walmart DC stuff, did you see what they're actually doing?
They're doing like a mini-series collecting the exclusive material.
Yeah, the Bendis and the Tom King ones are 12-part stories, so they're taking 2 issues, two of their stories, the story from each, from 2 Walmart stories, basically. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the way to phrase it, and I'm just fumbling all over it. But yeah, they're going to take 2 issues of Walmart, pull the Tom King stories out, put them in one regular comic, and put that out. So what was 12 issues of Walmart will be 6 issues in the comic shop. And that's not really I don't know how I feel about that as a solution. I mean, it's better than not having it at all because they've been good.
I feel like it's almost a concession of like, here, you are going to get a monthly book.
Yeah.
We will do a trade of this. They'll double dip on it like that.
But what stinks is like the first appearance of Jenny Hex was already in there. Well, the first appearance of Jenny Hex is not in the reprint that you put in the comic shops. It's still in the Walmart book.
Yeah.
So the one that people want is still the one that's in the Walmart one. So like you're still driving business to Walmart. You're not... I understood it, and clearly I misunderstood, that they were going to then begin putting out the same book in both. Like comic shops will get the Giant, and Walmart will get the Giant. Buy it where you want, and it seems like that's not the case.
Well, maybe
it will be down the
that'll
road.
happen after the miniseries.
But at least not for now. But hey, on the upside, you do get to buy those, so that's good. And you're right. It's the first place to get that Swamp Thing.
I believe those will be in the next catalog.
Yeah, I knew it was the summer we were supposed to start seeing them.
So probably a lot more on that next time, next month.
Page 77.
Yeah, I got that too.
Okay, well, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to mention that Michael Atchison one time asked me if I had read Y: The Last Man, and when I told him no, I could literally feel the disappointment in his voice pushing down on my shoulders. So I just want to let Mike know that I have read the first 5 volumes of that, and I'm working my way through it. It is very, very good. So if you want to get the complete story, all 60 issues? Mm-hmm. Yeah, all 60 issues.
1,440 pages
in one book. I don't think that's how I want to hold it and read it.
It's not for bed reading. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is the kind that goes on the shelf. It goes on the shelf for display. Type a little pricey at $150, but that is a lot of pages for $150 hardcover. The story's worth it. So thank you, Michael, for recommending that to me, and I will finish it at some point. I'm 5/8 of the way through, I promise. So
after that, on 78 and 79, we've got the Batman White Knight and Mr. Miracle hardcovers that were promised to the direct market.
And Mr. Miracle has been retroactively called Black Label.
And White Knight is not, even though it has been
you're
previously.
right.
So I don't know why the hardcover isn't.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a misprint in the catalog.
Could be.
But who knows? But yeah, I'm going to tell you, I bought both covers of all 12 issues of Mr. Miracle. I bought the trade. I'm going to buy that hardcover
too. On 81, we've got the DC Designer Series Batman by Frank Miller statue, and sort of representing the second issue to the Dark Knight Returns cover. I'm not a statue guy, but I kind of want this.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of hate it.
I love that cover. It's a divisive
cover. I do too. I like the cover. I don't know that I like it as a statue, I think.
The cape, the cape's doesn't feel right to me looking at that picture. So.
I said and looked at this when I was marking the catalog up for this podcast, and I thought, why don't I like this? It does look just like the cover, and somehow it being in 3 dimensions looks uglier.
I think the pose might not be great.
Nah,
the hand placement could probably be a little better in this. I think you might get some jokes from your friends on that. But I love that.
Yeah,
cover.
I see what you're saying.
I do like the grizzled beat up Batman.
There feels like emotion implied.
Yeah. On 83, we've got this month's Batman Black and White statue. It's by Joe Madureira. I like him as an artist. I can't think of him having a significant run on Batman ever.
Or have ever drawn it at all that I can recall.
Yeah. I mean, some variant covers and things.
Really? I can't even. Yeah. Okay, I was like, I can't even remember that. I'm sure it has. But right there, straight from the variant cover of Justice League Earth 101.
Oh, is that what it says?
There you go. I mean, use our reading skills, Dan. Come on.
We got time for no reading.
I will tell you on page 85, if there's one thing that no one wants to see when they walk into their date's house, it's a semi-life-size replica of the Batman Who Laughs cowl. That's a great way to end your date right there.
Or just any of those cowls.
Yeah. Don't get him started on
86,
the cows.
We've got the latest.
It's an odd trend in collectibles, right? Like, it's
the fact that they're half size.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, I don't quite understand. I think I said this last time. I don't know who the market on this is. Right. Like, who do you envision is going to see this and be like, put my name down right now. I need a half-size Batman Who Laughs, spike mask cowl.
The Batman Who Laughs without the laugh.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because there's no face.
It's just empty.
It's
just a Batman
He's
cowl.
In the shower. He's laying on the
bed. This is where he keeps it when he's at home relaxing, man. Like, puts it away properly. It looks like what was Speedball's name when he became a
Penance?
Penance. Yes. It looks like somebody. It looks like Batman cosplaying his Penance. Yeah. It's just weird.
Right after that, we've got the Batman Black and White minifigure 7-pack box set 4. And again, these are the ones that are available mass market, but here you can get them all not blind bagged. You know what you're getting. You get a set here. This time they come with a Norm Brayfogle exclusive. And so he's got that big bulky cape. It might be too big for the blind bags maybe, but it's a nice one to have. On the last page, we've got some T-shirts. We've got the Batman Joker laughing one, but there's a nice Kelly Jones Nightfall with the Bane breaking Batman's back that is super tiny in this catalog for some reason. Like, you can barely see it. So is that it for DC
That's
then?
it for DC.
That's it for me.
We've already put it away, so
All
we're
right,
just
so
waiting
on
for you
to
to catch
Marvel,
up.
Yeah. Keep waiting.
All right, page 2, Marvel. Let's talk about page 1, which is nothing. So page 2, just going to mention War of the Realms, still going on, 26 comics. Next.
Well, more than 26,
Give them to me.
26 pages. It's more comics.
The checklist is 26 books.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 26 books.
I've got some of this on there. Some
Oh,
of
do you?
list.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go.
I can't get over how much I like these uncolored pages from Russell Dodderman on the Spider-Man. Looks awesome.
Some artists look better,
Yeah.
not colored,
And
and some look better, not inked.
We will talk about that a little bit
Okay,
later
all right.
in the previews too. There is something where I think, oh, it's in color. No, I don't really want that. But I'm super excited about this. I also like that it does feel like it's kind of getting in and out. It's not wearing out its welcome here. It's
3
double
months.
shipping. Yeah,
3 months.
So have you guys read it yet?
No.
I liked issue 1. I thought it was fun. I stand by my. By the way, Acts of Vengeance. That's the crossover I was trying to think of
okay.
before.
All right.
Right. And we got home and I had to Google that. You have no idea how complicated it was to Google. I'm like, I know what this crossover is.
Right.
Give it to me, Google. You're supposed to know these things. And I was like trying to think of the right search string. And for the record, I work in search engine work, so this should be good for me. And I was like, oh God, how do I phrase this and make Google understand me? And I found it after a couple of tries, and I was like, Acts of Vengeance. Dang it! Why couldn't I remember that? Like in my brain, I could see the Marvel Series 1 trading card picture that had it, and it was like, oh, come on, photographic memory, pull it out. I couldn't think of the words. So yeah, no. I enjoyed issue 1 a lot. One of my issues with Marvel crossovers is how often people say things like, "Can I just buy the main book?"
Yeah.
And of course, that's what you want to hear. And of course, Marvel's like, totally, you can buy the main book.
Mm-hmm.
But what the main book is a lot of times is it's about 4 or 5 6-page stories that are really just like a slice of another miniseries. So they will do a little, like 4, 5, 6 pages something, and then at the bottom will be like, see the rest of this story in a mini. And then you flip the page and it's like, but over in Wakanda, this was happening. And then you get 5 or 6 pages and it's like, see the rest in Secret Invasion Black Panther. And you're like, dang it. And all the main book is essentially just an ad you paid for all the other minis. And that's what's so frustrating. I cannot speak for what will happen in all the other War of the Realms issues, but War of the Realms 1 told one story that had nothing to do with anything else, and I liked it. I thought it was fun. It clipped along. Spider-Man had some amazing Spider-Man lines. I really liked it a lot. But on 24 and 25, has anybody got anything before that? Okay, 24 and 25, this is the cost that you have to pay for War of the Realms. Tony Stark Iron Man, not written by Dan Slott, and Venom, not written by Donny Cates. So to keep up and have these things done in time, you got Gail Simone on Iron Man, and you got Cullen Bunn on Venom. No, it's not a bad replacement.
For a fill-in issue, that's
correct. That's what I was going to say. It's not like they pulled, Ralph Macchio out of the old folks home. We're like, Ralph, get in there and write this Iron Man.
Yeah, he's working on Cobra Kai.
Well, he has an issue in here too, I think, doesn't he? Isn't he doing a Spider-Man thing? But yeah, that too. That's fun. I just got your joke. I was like, is he working on that show? I was thinking about like Jeff Loeb is always off doing TV shows too, but Ralph Macchio, I get you. I'm slow sometimes, but yeah, like if you're gonna have fill-ins, great. But if you are, what this means is that if you're a person who was only buying Iron Man, this is now a skippable issue for you because it has nothing to do. It's not even Dan Slott's run. It has nothing to do with that now, and I think that's a really lousy way to tie your books in. Yeah. Effectively, you just put these books on hiatus and you did a one-shot is what you did. And then they resume as normal the next month, I guess. On the next page,
26 and 27, got Black Cat #1, J. Scott Campbell.
I can't for the life of me think of why I need a Black Cat ongoing, but I will be darned if I'm not going to buy it. Yeah. Because it looks awesome, and I love the Black Cat. Look, if I'm a Batman guy, and I love Catwoman, and secondarily, I'm a Spider-Man guy, which means I have to like the Black Cat. If I had my way, I'd have Spider-Man be with Black Cat all the time, not Mary Jane or Resurrected Gwen or something else. I love the Black Cat. She's a big part of the reason that I love that Spider-Man PS4 game so much. All of the interaction with him and the Black Cat was so fun. My wife would make me, if there was going to be a cutscene coming up, she would make me yell from the other room if there was going to be a Black Cat scene because she loved those scenes. And she would come running through the house and be like, did I miss anything? No.
And she's a popular character right now as well, so this book could sell pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. 28, Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
finally have another series. They had that weird like one-shot annual, just like between
kind of out of
series.
nowhere.
Yeah. I think this is the same artist, Trad Moore, who did the art on that annual. It looks very, very familiar, kind of a bubbly looking Silver Surfer. I don't know if I care for the appearance in this.
It's
particular.
got kind of a 60s vibe to it, though,
Yeah,
right?
but yeah, a little bit. But I'll probably this Surfer's one of my favorite characters, so I will probably be picking this up. So.
Donnie Cates is one of my buy-on-site writers, so I was going to probably get it anyway, but I'll definitely get it if it's Donnie Cates.
Yep.
I assume it being titled Silver Surfer Black means we're never getting a Jeff Loeb Tim Sale Silver Surfer book.
I assumed that Jeff Loeb's would be Silver Surfer Silver. Or Silver Surfer Chrome, and they'd be all chrome covers.
nice.
Throwback 90s mini.
And Josh Hines will buy every single one of those.
I would buy them. I would buy them too, and he and I could compare how notes on how awesome they are.
On 31, we've got Incredible Hulk Last Call #1 by Peter David and Dale Keown.
It could have been written by literally anybody, and if Dale Keown drew a Hulk issue, I'm gonna buy it.
This is my favorite
But yeah,
pairing for the
Peter
Incredible
David
Hulk.
makes it better,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
But I mean, I just buy it for Dale Keown drawing the Hulk. That's all right. I'll have it.
Now, I'm sure it's not going to tie in with Immortal Hulk in any shape, form,
No,
or
I don't.
fashion.
Yeah,
And this
I
is
can't
just a
imagine.
one-shot, so...
Yeah, I think this is kind of trading on a reunion for these guys after
Yeah.
their run.
Yep.
This is retirement money, is what this is.
Yeah. And,
And then on the
Speaking
next
of
page,
Immortal
speaking of them, yep.
The
So
Immortal Hulk
apparently
is
he's
fantastic.
fighting a negative villain or something here that's completely in shadow, whose name is classified, I guess, according to this.
I did finally start reading this series. I'm on the first trade. It is very good. So, yeah.
I mean,
And fair warning, the first few issues are standalone issues, and they're good, but you would think, well, this is good, but it's not amazing. And then all of a sudden, it starts to mesh together into a more cohesive storyline, and they actually have an arc to it. I mean, I was happy when I read the first 4 or 5 months of just every month I'd get a
get
different
just a
different
story.
horror
Horror
Hulk
story.
adventure, and I was like, this is amazing. It felt like Marvel was doing a Vertigo book, But then it's been a bit more superhero-y lately, but still not like a traditional Marvel superhero book. So I'm a huge fan. It's my favorite. It's my favorite book from Marvel. It's arguably my favorite book. Period. Any week that it comes out.
and it definitely moves here at the store. You know what I mean?
And online, my God.
And
If
I
you
would
have
say,
those early issues,
Yeah, no kidding.
you have some money. On the next page, I talked about it last month. Nothing about that cover makes me not want to buy that. That's brown suit Wolverine and Conan the Barbarian. Get out of my brain, Jerry Dugan. This is amazing. It's probably not going to be good, but I'll really like it all the same.
Well, it's even more 90s then.
Yeah. 36, 37. True Believers books. We got first Peter Porker, Spectacular Spider-Ham, reprint of Amazing Spider-Man #1, Marvel Team Up 141, which is the tied for the first black suit Spider-Man. First Morbius, right? The McFarlane cover book that sold for like 6 figures, so the actual original art for that. First appearance of Mysterio. So there's some pretty good books here for $1.
We've got Aunt May marrying Doc Ock, and the preacher says with this ring I the web.
Oh.
The fact that he is webbing the Bible
Yeah.
that is really
He can't perform the ceremony without the Bible. Peter
right.
knows that. He's like, I have to get the book away.
But I just like the idea that Peter is stealing a Bible, by the way, and also he's, spraying adhesive all over it like, well, I'll show you, Doc.
Yeah.
In an
I'll
hour-
deface this Bible in
an
front of my
hour-
aunt.
In an hour, it'll be fine. That's right. I just want to point out, though, the Marvel Tales, TAIL, first appearance of Peter Porker has actually gone up since Spider-Verse came out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
So this is probably the cheapest way to get that book right now.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
then on 39.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy, I'm getting that.
Oh, okay.
So we got Spider-Man Annual #1 featuring Spider-Ham.
And it's Jason Latour.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just farmed this out to an intern. They got a legit... Jason Latour, if you don't know, co-created Spider-Gwen. So this is really appropriate that he'd be in the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that Pen?
I know, I don't know what it is
it's
either.
It's a
and
Penguin Gwen pun somewhere. I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
And variant cover by Ron Lim. Just speaking
It's
of the
always
90s.
like, it's always like
Yeah,
every
there's
now
not
and
very
then
many people more 90s Marvel than Ron Lim,
and
right?
like every now and then I'm like, what's Ron Lim been doing? And then there's a variant or something just out of the blue.
I had somebody ask me
know.
that question last week.
Really?
Yeah, I just ran into somebody outside the post office and it's like, we were talking about Silver Surfer all of a sudden. It's like, what's Ron Lim doing? I was like, well, mainly just variant covers. But, my next thing's not till 43. Anything for 43?
Nope.
Well, 43, we got Spider-Man Life Story Part 4, the 90s. Now, most of these covers, I've been able to figure out what the Spider-Man story was, and then what like the 90s reference is, and I have no clue off of this cover what the reference is and what the story is going to be about.
I mean, my only thing is him looking at a reflection. I feel like would imply the Clone Saga if they are keeping it in with what was going on in the 90s. But I don't know.
Okay,
No,
I would accept
sense.
that. So yeah.
I had to explain this way too hard to somebody the other day. And they were like, I don't get it. I'm like, okay. So Spider-Man was created, and I had to go through the whole thing, like explain, and he goes, oh. Like after several times he goes, oh. So it's like in real time. And I said, that's what I said. I said it's in real time. That's what I tried the first place, and he didn't get it. But he finally got it, and he was like, oh, that's an awesome idea for a book. I know, that's what I was saying. For some reason, I marked page 51 for Donny Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy, probably just to say that it's a Donny Cates book that I buy, but I am amused that already there's the resurrection of Thanos. You knew he couldn't stay dead too long.
Well, it seems like this is 2 months too late, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
On 52, it's just a miniseries, and it's over in this month. I think we still have the first parts of it, but holy crap, Meet the Skrulls is really fun.
Is it really?
I've never talked about this on the podcast. Obviously, it's never come up, but my favorite show, drama-wise, of all time is The Americans, and I was probably going to buy this anyway because I thought it was kind of a cool concept, but I read an interview where Robbie Thompson said it's basically a Marvel version of The Americans, and I was like, say no more. I will buy this now. And you know what? It's not wrong. He was not wrong. It's pretty darn close. I liked it a lot. So I'm hoping maybe it'll be good enough to get another follow-up mini or something later, but very, very, very worth picking up in trade or something down the road.
On 54, we've got Howard the Duck #1 facsimile edition. So
I'll just roll my eyes.
So if you want to have a facsimile copy of Howard the Duck #1 with ads included.
Not about it being Howard the Duck, about it being a facsimile edition.
Right.
57? Anything for 57? Nope. I just 57 is actually Black Panther issue 13, but what I like is the David Mack variant cover, which is really, really nice. Wish that was on a Captain America book instead of on a Black Panther book.
Yeah.
But not
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, well, no, it's just they're doing it. That's their theme, the Marvel's 25th tribute issue. So there's a bunch of covers that, you know, and Marvel does this all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I got like a random Daredevil issue one time that's a Jane Foster Thor cover, and it's just like, why? But they do. So.
I just bought a variant of Thor the other day because it had Punisher on it. And I was like, I love this cover, but what did I just buy? Oh, it's Thor. I just saw the cover and I was like, love that. Let's take it.
I did the same thing last year. They did a Thor issue with a Fantastic Four She-Hulk cover by Brian Hitch. I'm like, I love that cover. I'm getting it. Got nothing to do with the book.
Anything for 69?
Nope.
Nope. It's time for the Rob Liefeld game.
I'm not even worried about the Rob Liefeld game. It's time for the Sam Keith game.
Oh,
Sam Keith coming back
right.
to do a brown suit Wolverine. I'm there.
More importantly, to me, Larry Hama.
Yeah.
Brown Suit Wolverine. And Claremont, too. But
Yeah,
like,
I love-
Larry Hama's who was writing Wolverine when I
Yeah.
started reading Wolverine. And also G.I. Joe, man. So,
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
I remember realizing, oh, man, the guy who writes Wolverine's the guy who also wrote Snake Eyes. Of course he is. That's why he's so awesome.
I have a
No, I
Snake Eye sketch
love
from Larry
Sam
Hama.
Keith's Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine stuff he did, so I'm really glad to see him coming back to this character. What sucks is that his cover is a variant, and who knows if we'll be able to get it or not. But
Well, so speaking of Liefeld game, we have 3 pages of Liefeld, and how many pairs of feet do we have? 1.
one, oh yeah, that's just the 1 foot.
I would also point out that the ones we do have are people looking to the right.
Right, there you go. So that's part 2 of the game.
And the same thing,
will
on all 3 of them, people are sort of angled to the right. a
will
little
he
bit.
sign these books? You
Oh,
think?
jeez.
Hey, but apparently, okay, so page 7 you got Major X. Apparently, issue 1 of that book sold out.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know if you got your copy. You know,
What Dan is referencing, and the will he sign it, is that apparently the official first appearance of Major X is in Spider-Man Deadpool 47. It's a cameo, and Rob Liefeld refuses to sign those books because he says they're not the real first appearance. And I guess someone informed me today that the real first appearance is in some exclusive cover that you can only get through Liefeld, which is like an extra level of rudeness there on top of it. Yeah, but if you don't know, I mean, Rob Liefeld already charges more. If you want him to sign a New Mutants 87, there's one price, and if you want him to sign a New Mutants 88, there's a higher price, and if you want it CGC'd, it's a higher price on top of that. So, I don't know.
you know what the
strikes
prices
me-
are?
They kind of change. From
okay.
When I was at one show, I think it was like $25 for any signature, and then it was like $50 for $50 for 87 and $75 for 98, and then there was like an additional $50 charge or something if you wanted it CGC'd. I'm probably getting the prices wrong, but I remember walking by his booth and seeing that there was a schedule of pricing, and it was like, any book this, New Mutants 87 this, New Mutants 98 this, and CGC is an additional cost. And I thought, well, I don't want to get any of those books signed anyway, but geez, dude, definitely not now.
Yeah. Page 90 is my next thing.
On 79, we've got X-Men Grand Design Extinction #2, and so this is wrapping up Ed Pisker's X-Men run of kind of retelling the history of the characters. I really like this. I'm kind of bummed it's wrapping up. I hope he moves on to something else. I feel like there's plenty of Marvel properties he can do this.
I missed
with
the
this formula.
original one that was the original 5 X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been waiting ever since for the inevitable, really amazing, oversized hardcover of all of it together. And when that gets, when you do all of them together, I'm going to buy that, and it's going to look
and
really
it'll probably
cool.
be treasury size. No one.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Page 90, we've got Star Wars Galaxy Edge issue #3. I haven't talked about this before, but my oldest son just randomly asked me, hey, do you think you can get the Galaxy's Edge book? He called it the Jedha Connection, because I said, so it took me a little while to find it. It's like, do you mean this? And it's like, but this is based on the new theme park at Disney. So it's a story on the Galaxy's Edge theme park coming this year to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So that's why he's interested in it. So we will probably be tracking this one down.
And right now there's at least one person screaming, Disney's going to run Star Wars and Marvel to their car as they listen to their commute.
Back on 87, we've got Star Wars #67, and this is wrapping up Kieran Gillen's run with the Scourging of Shu-Torun.
Did you see who's taking over?
No, I did not.
Greg Pak.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they renumbering, or?
I don't think so. I think it's just continuing
I think
numbers
the
on.
rumor was they were going to try to restart with a new number.
I hadn't heard that. I hope not.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if
I
they
guess
did,
I don't care.
But this has been a really good story so far. So I think he's probably going to go out on a bang here with this. I did see. I don't think it's in here, but I think I saw where Chris Sprouse was doing one of these one shots. That they've already solicited, and I think he's dropped out of that one.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. I don't want to break your heart, but I think he's off that book now.
Yeah,
you got it.
I can't remember which one.
Well, he's listed on Age of Rebellion Luke Skywalker as the artist.
Okay, maybe it was that one.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's a good artist. I don't think he gets enough work anymore. I don't know what the circumstances are of that, but
I think he is also older than we think he is.
No, I don't
Is he
think
not?
so. Because he was at Superman Celebration like 3 or 4 years
Well,
ago.
I mean, as far as years in the industry, I think he's been around longer than I think he has, and I think he's in the I can take work when I want it kind of phase, maybe a little bit more.
Well, I know he was, he was on Justice League, the Bwahaha Justice League for a while, and that was the late 80s. So he's been at it for at least that long. So don't know what page this is because they don't like page numbers later in the catalog. But we've got Namor the Submariner by John Byrne and Jay Lee Omnibus. I think I have a couple issues of John Byrne's run. I always think about checking it out.
I have all of them, and I bought just because it's John Byrne.
Yeah,
and I love John Byrne.
Is the run any good?
I don't know. I've never read it. I bought it because it was John Byrne. And I'm gonna read that someday, and it's in a box somewhere.
I've owned that whole run. I don't know how many times over, and I always just sell it.
I did read them when they were new. I read the first 6 or 8 issues off the shelf, and then it was one of those things that they got beat up from being hauled back and forth to junior high or whatever. And then one year when I was here, when I was still working at the shop, I was like, "Oh, this is all of John Byrne's run. I will take that." And it just got bagged and boarded and put away in a box, and I've never. But of all the things that I've gotten rid of, and boy, I've sold a lot of my collection over the years and rebought it. The John Byrne Marvel stuff is I've never really gotten rid of it. So I still have that and have Alpha Flight. You guys were all laughing about Alpha Flight.
I just reread not too long ago the first 2 story arcs of Alpha Flight.
Yeah.
Because it's John Byrne.
Still a fun book.
Yeah,
and really well done.
Laugh about Alpha Flight.
Yeah, well, look.
And the thorn in my side it's been since I've been here at the store.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just going to root for any book that has a short, bald guy with a beard.
Right.
For reasons that I don't fully understand. I just always liked Puck, I guess.
Page 104. So we have the Daredevil by Frank Miller box set slipcase. So this basically has all of your Frank Miller work on Daredevil and Elektra. Again, pricey, $250.
Yeah, especially
Overpriced
they're trades, right? Not hardcovers.
Yeah.
Right? That's crazy talk.
I looked at it and I thought, that's great. Oh, wait, no. I mean, I have the Marvel Visionaries Frank Miller that
I do
they
too.
did like 15 years ago. There was 3 volumes. They were like $20 a piece or something.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't feel like this is different than that. Although they did throw in like, Born Again and some other stuff. I get that. But
Well, this has got a poster.
you probably can't see it.
Yeah, right.
It's art not final.
10.
And that's it. There's also a companion trade. It says Daredevil by Frank Miller companion, and it's like, what's in the companion? Sketchbook stuff, you'd think.
Honestly,
or
I don't
scripts, maybe?
know, and it doesn't. It's not real. I don't think it's real
And
clear.
it's 264 pages.
It's a lot of companion
Yeah,
material.
that's bigger than
But-
some of. That's bigger than
Yeah,
the
bigger than some of the trades.
It's
yeah.
probably just scripts. And
Yeah.
since Miller was writing and drawing his own thing, it'll be like, draw Daredevil here, dummy. And then,
Yeah,
draw what you want, Frank.
There's a stick man where Daredevil goes.
Dear future Frank, draw what you want, past Frank. Right on, past Frank, I will.
Page 108.
On 107.
107, go ahead.
We've got Marvel 80 for 80 hardcover, which is a collection of a bunch of pinups and posters.
It's, of
and
course, a
things like
collection of
this.
those specials they have on ESPN.
Right.
The Marvel 80 for 80.
Exactly.
Of course.
But it is 168 pages for the 80 pinups. Because I guess there's commentary and
Yeah.
stuff in it.
Well, maybe on the back they have the commentary, so
Right.
you can choose which art you want to display, or display
Yeah.
all of them.
Right.
The back of it's just like, this is a picture of the Thing. And the next one, this is
page-
a picture of the Hulk. And like, thanks a lot, Marvel.
No. This
Yeah,
page
you
intentionally left blank. 107. Okay, I mock Rob Liefeld from time to time, but honestly, I actually like. I bought all of his stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, for
early
sure.
on, I actually like it, but. Here on page 107, they got Marvel Universe by Rob Liefeld, omnibus hardcover.
bustiest
This
cap.
is the worst drawing of Captain America ever published in any medium,
Can I tell you,
anywhere.
I think I don't want to be a jerk. I think you're wrong because I think the original version of
Yeah.
this is worse.
Is it worse?
Yeah.
Is this not the original?
You're
Oh.
remembering this is the original. The original is
I
thought
thought
it bustier,
I
shall
thought
we
it was
say.
scaled back maybe a little bit. I thought, well,
did.
maybe I was just
Yeah, no,
misremembering.
this is like a revision.
Okay.
It's still bad.
It's
I'm
still
not
terrible.
saying it's
Yeah,
not bad.
it's bad.
It is. But the original, as I recall, is worse, right?
is.
Like
Okay,
it's
all right. It's
definitely
really bad.
This is the
chestier.
book that years ago, back on the strip, Dennis tried to convince me it was so bad it was good to try to get me to buy it. I did not buy it.
But yeah,
I haven't ever read it. I just remember being excited about Marvel Reborn or the Heroes Reborn, hearing about it at school back in high school. I remember driving down to the comic book store when they first came out, and I picked up Captain America, and I went no, and I put it back, and I've never read it. And I like Rob Liefeld, but I picked it up and I thought, no, God, no, I can't, no, and just put it back. That's it for me. And I've never read any of the Heroes Reborn stuff. On 109. Because we're going to talk about it every single time if I can.
Yep.
Immortal Hulk, Volume 1 hardcover. It's really good. This is issues 1 through 10, plus the
first
salient
appearance,
parts
yeah.
from Avengers 684. Yep.
After that, on 110, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Power and Responsibility, Marvel Select Hardcover. This collects issues 1 through 7 of the original Ultimate Spider-Man run, and it's super solid, really good stuff by
Yeah,
Bendis
it is.
and Mark Bagley, so got me reading a whole line of Marvel for a while.
well, and the Bendis Bagley
You and
run
a whole lot of other people.
outlasted Lee Kirby as far as
Yeah.
number of issues. So that's like, isn't that still like the longest continuous run by a duo?
By a pair,
By
yeah,
a
I
pair,
think so.
yeah.
I think you're right.
So
Yeah, you've got the same thing I do on 120.
I'm on 121, so you got one.
Oh, okay. So nothing really too notable, but just this is, officially official, as it were, that the Dark Horse Conan stuff is now totally being reprinted in Marvel. So the Jewels of Gwalur and other stories was from Dark Horse back in the early 2000s. So there was at one point a question about whether or not Marvel got the rights to that when they got the rights to Conan. Like, do they get other companies' stories
Yeah.
that they publish too? And they do, because Dark Horse did when they published it. They republished
Yeah.
the Marvel stuff under theirs. So I remember reading somebody saying, "I'm not sure if that's the way it's going to be," but yeah, it is. So
I
if
can
you ever
assure, I can
missed,
assure that person that's how licenses work.
yeah, well, you'd think that, but every once in a while, like somebody works a deal where their version is only reprinted by them, and
Well, it was
I mean,
like-
that's how you don't have Magnus Robot Fighter and Valiant right now. Like we printed it, and now we can't ever reprint it
Well,
because somebody else. Yeah.
they didn't create it though either.
Right,
That's a whole other rights thing.
like on licensing. Like I remember when the Lord of the Rings films were out. Well, there were all these Lord of the Rings video games, but EA had rights to the movie version of
right.
Lord of the Rings, but some other company had rights to the book version. So they're both releasing our time strategy
Well, that's why it
games.
brings up, because this is not Robert E. Howard stuff. This is stuff that was commissioned by Dark Horse, and so every once in a while you get weird creator licensing. I didn't give you permission to, and I know it's probably all work for hire and it was all assigned to the estate of Robert E. Howard, but you never know,
Right.
Because this pulp material has been mishandled a lot by a lot of people, and this wouldn't have been the first time. So if you missed it last time, it's still there.
And page 121, Conan the Barbarian, Volume 1. This is the first of the new Marvel series. We reviewed the first issue. I think we all liked it.
Yeah.
So I haven't read anything past the first issue. Plan on picking up the trade.
Still been solid. Pick up that trade.
I'm picking up that trade to read it. So that's all I had for Marvel.
I've got, I think, 2 things left.
Go.
What you got, Dan? What's the first thing?
I got 136 and 137.
I got 128. The Star Wars Legends Epic Collection. I don't really have a lot of deep commentary here other than to say that Al Williamson is the first artist that I recognized without knowing his name. He did the Return of the Jedi adaptation in the 80s, and it's the first comic books that anybody bought me. And when I came to work for Dennis, we were looking through EC stuff, and I said, this looks like the guy who did those Star Wars comics. And Dennis is like, what are you talking about? And I said, this looks exactly like my Return of the Jedi issues. And I went and dug him up, and we were like, well, I'll be. And Dennis didn't, I think, remember that. And so it's the first person that I knew their art without knowing their name. I recognized Al Williamson's art, and it's fantastic. If you are a more recent Star Wars fan, it's kind of a cool peek into what Star Wars was before it was like a monolith of entertainment that had, such a deep canon, that this was back when you could do any dang thing you wanted. Sci-fi could just be bolted onto Marvel or onto Star Wars however you darn well pleased. These are the newspaper strips.
Yeah,
no
that's
less.
the
The
newspaper
Marvel
stuff.
stuff's, full of famously the Green Rabbits and stuff, but the newspaper strips were a bit more Flash Gordon, which is very much in keeping with what Star Wars was originally designed to be. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. So if you haven't seen that stuff, it is really neat. And then my last thing, what was your last one, Dan?
136 and 137.
Yeah, we're probably talking about the same things. Go
So
ahead.
since I'm in the way I've been feeling about the last week, I should be able to pronounce this very well. It's not brand.
You sound very German when you do it.
Complete collection. Again, reprinting the old series, and only 1 through 13, I guess, and 14 came out years later. I've just got the feeling that book ran way longer than that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of what the and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're probably right.
But I just feel like
same thing.
I thought that would be more issues of that book. And then on the next page, we've got Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham Complete Collection. Again, what did we talk about? $40 for the trade. Still cheaper than it took me to get them all over the years.
Yeah.
So, and
Is this all of them?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got Marvel Tales, and then 1 through 17. I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's great. J. Jonah Jackal.
Well, it does say Complete Collection Volume 1, though.
I couldn't remember how long the book ran.
I'll have to go back and
I thought it
check.
was like 17 issues. How many does it show?
17.
I think it's 17. I think I just sold 1 through 17 of that series on
okay,
eBay.
so maybe that's what
and I
it
thought it
is.
was complete. So
On 141, for some reason, we've got Adventures of the X-Men Volume 1. And so this is like the 90s cartoon book, right?
I think so.
That they're reprinting. And again, written by Karate Kid himself, Ralph Macchio. And I'm not sure why they're reprinting that now, but I think they just did the Spider-Man one, too. Maybe it was in the last catalog. Last page, posters. There's only 3 posters, but they're showing them all.
yep.
So
They're all just covers from this month.
Yeah,
But
somebody
that's
from-
okay. They're all good.
Yeah, somebody from the House of Ideas is obviously listening to our complaints. So,
That Dan Brown's got a lot of good ideas.
right. As long as somebody learns.
A whole house full, if you will.
Big book.
All right. On
Page
to the-
28.
On to the catalog.
Get your copy of previews. Play along, so you can also be disappointed at the side 2 cover, as we will be discussing soon.
Oh, man. I was so glad I wasn't the only one who was enraged. But I wasn't enraged. I was just like so bummed.
no.
Oh, what a tease you are, previews.
On page 33, we've got the free comic book day offerings, which will be coming up May 4th here at the store. So come by, get some free books.
We already have some of them here, so you know they're going to be on time.
There you go. So my first thing's on 44.
I got nothing until 72.
Okay, so on page 44, we have a new 5-issue series, Image issue number 1, called Thumbs. Speaking of, it describes itself as Social Network meets Blade Runner. So when I see Blade Runner, that automatically triggers something positive for me. So I will be at least picking up the first issue to try out this new series. They got 4 pages of sample art. I'm not wowed by it.
They seem to be doing that a lot lately.
Well, Image always has.
Yeah.
They've done several pages to try to, make sure you're going to like the book before you order it. And so I'm going to give this one a shot. See how it goes, again, to see how Blade Runner it actually is.
The cynic in me always looks at Image books and thinks that these are all, of course, being envisioned by their creators as pitches for a movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think when I looked at that one, no one's buying your property called Thumbs. Yeah. That should have had a better name,
Better
you
name,
guys.
yeah.
Like, nobody's like, you want to make a movie out of Thumbs? I don't know what that is, but no, I do not. I will not give you millions.
On 58, we have Spawn number 298. Creeping
Getting
up on
close.
300.
I'm hoping we get the kind of math we used to get in the 90s. I'm hoping it goes 298, 302,
Right.
then back to 299, and then we'll get 300 in a couple of months.
Oh, boy. And then we've got McFarlane referencing himself here with his Spider-Man cover.
Yeah. Oh, you think he'll do that for $299 and $300?
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I'll bet he at least does a variant like that for 300, if not the main cover.
Pretty smart.
Right after that, we've got Wicked and Divine number 45, wrapping up the series.
Hey, that means I can finally start reading it.
There you go. We had the first issue around here somewhere.
Oh, I have the whole run of the book.
Oh, okay.
I've been buying it since it came out, and I don't know why. I read the first 6 issues, and then I kind of fell off on it. And then around the time that I was going to get back into it, he announced that it was going to have a finite end, and I thought, well, I guess I'll just wait until it's over, and I'll read the whole dang book.
I don't have anything to 132, so.
On 64, we've got Spawn Cover Gallery, Volume 1 hardcover, getting the Spawn hype train and going to 300. But it's advanced solicit, and I'm not sure when it comes out. I'm sure it says somewhere. Oh, August. So why do you need extra time to do a hardcover collection of covers?
Your guess is
Well,
They're
maybe they're going to
already
put
done.
298, 299, and 300 in it.
Actually, that's probably true. It'll probably ship
Well,
the same
no.
day as 300.
It says it
It'll-
collects the covers for Spawn 1 through 100. It's not like they're randomly choosing
Yeah.
100 issues.
Well, now, Scott, it's not out yet. Let's not say what's in it.
Okay.
It's a Todd McFarlane Image
That's
book. It
okay.
could be any number.
It will probably have toys in it.
Right.
And they'll break and shipping.
And a baseball.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. It'll just be an empty, large book with a cutout for a baseball on the inside.
It'll have Miracle Man number 1 in it.
Yeah.
This is mine now.
On 91, we've got the Murder Falcon Tour T-shirt. So if you're a fan of that run, they've got the Metal Will Destroy All Evil Tour.
I own all of them, but I haven't read it yet, and I haven't read it yet because somehow I missed that it existed, and my words to Mike were, how do I not buy a book called Murder Falcon? And he said, I really don't know. And I'm like, can we get those? Because I need those. Going back just a little on 72, here's a personal aside for you. I don't know that there is a more Matt Martin page in this entire catalog than 72, where I have Black Monday Murders and Criminal. You have a gritty, occult murder mystery by Jonathan Hickman, and then you've got Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. So you've got a book I really love, and then you've got one of my absolute I'll buy it on site teams on one page. It's the most me page in the entire catalog. If I bought nothing else all month, it would be that page for sure.
Well, I figured page 94 from Dark Horse would be the most Matt Martin page in here. We've
You
got
have to tell me which one that is.
Disney Frozen hero with the number
well,
one.
you laugh, but we both know I'm going to buy Frozen. So it is a Disney book, and I am going to buy it.
It's so weird that Dark Horse is doing all this Disney stuff.
Did you see that Joe Books, that at one point was doing Disney side stuff, went bankrupt?
Oh, really?
And IDW is about to go bankrupt. I don't know if you know that or not. IDW is probably not long for this world, so very sorry, Transformers fans.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But IDW is currently... It is no longer the sole ownership company that used to be. It has sort of it has corporate ownership, and they are recommending selling the company and its assets to keep it afloat. Basically, they want to keep the brand, but they don't really want to keep making comics, is what it sounds like. On 75, issue 1 came out today, and we don't have it, and I have to get one. Fair Lady, if you have seen that, it is basically Fables, but it's about a fantasy world, a fairy tale world, and the cops in it. And I loved Fables, so I didn't, somehow I missed this when it was first solicited. So number 3 is in this catalog. I'm going to try to track down 1 and then get 2 when it comes out on Rhythm.
I don't have anything to 132. So.
Okay, well, on 101, again, in Dark Horse, we've got Snow Glass Apples, and this is Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran doing a take on Snow White. So there'll probably be quite a few people out there who want to check that out.
On page 98 is more Black Hammer 45, which is the From the World of Black Hammer book. But
So
Black
it's
Hammer,
it's a blacker hammer?
No, that's as black as the hammer ever gets. It's just one hammer, man.
Oh, I thought he says more Black Hammer.
Well, no, okay. There's more Black Hammer books, all right? I see where you're going. Your wordplay has fooled me again, Dan Brown. But no, I was just going to highlight that Age of Doom has ended. It says it's the final episode of Age of Doom, which was like the second iteration of the main Black Hammer book. And I don't know. I haven't seen any announcements about if that's actually the end of the main story or if there's going to be another reboot after that. So I'm kind of curious to see what the next catalog has in it.
Oh no!
But the book's great.
103. Anything before that?
Nope, I got nothing until 132.
We've got Astro Hustle #4, which will not be coming out.
No, it will not.
We've recently found out. I don't know how deep we want to get into that, but
let's just say that there were allegations against the writer, and the book has been pulled.
Yeah, this will not be coming out.
Yep. Issue 2 is literally on the shelf right now behind Scott, and that's the last one you're going to see.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, at least from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could shop it somewhere else.
On 108, we've got the Archie versus Predator trade from Dark Horse, and I believe they've announced a second miniseries, right? I don't think that's in here yet.
No, it's not. And yes, I am very excited. I love Archie. I love the Predator. I'll get it.
And last time they had a Kelly Jones variant, so I had to get
did
that.
they?
Yep.
I think I missed that.
On 117, we've got the EC Archives Crime Suspense Stories, Volume 4, and this collects issues 19 through 27 of the original run, which of course includes the very controversial number 22.
That's the
with
head,
the head.
Right?
Yeah. So and it's a good story. So it's $60, but again, it's 280 pages. It's cheaper than buying the originals of these books. I'll tell you that.
Okay, I don't know the story behind it. Issue 22.
Yeah.
Somebody educate me.
The cover is a severed head being held by the hair and a bloody axe.
Oh, okay.
And that was used in the Wortham things.
Yeah, and then
it was like basically defend this, sir.
There you go, yeah,
And you
okay.
can imagine how well that went in the early 50s.
In fact, have you read it?
Yeah. I don't need to read it, kind of crap. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we're all going to talk about Usagi, right?
Well, you got somebody knows better than I am.
So
you go
I
ahead.
love Usagi. I read it for a long time, and this is the book that I was referencing earlier when Scott said some things look better and not in color. I mean, I don't think this looks bad, but I've always read Usagi in black and white, and I love that. I think I might have mentioned this before that to me, Stan Sakai's art is the best word for it is efficient, and I don't mean that to be reductive of it. He overdraws what needs overdrawn, and he leaves out what doesn't need it. It always looks like every single Stan Sakai page has exactly the number of pencil movements that needed to be done to tell the story exactly as well as it needed. I think I would love to watch the guy draw. I don't know how he frames panels so well and sets up a page, but somehow I like it better in black and white, and it looks perfectly fine in color, and I'm thinking about picking it up because I haven't read Usagi in a few years. But there's a little part of me that's like, color though?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
So if IDW goes under, then he's going to have to change companies again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, God.
I know. When he announced that, and I thought, I don't know that I'd be jumping to IDW. Yeah. Like, if he had gone to Image or something, that'd be one thing. But
this may have been they weren't completely honest with him situation, too. Who knows? And that's the thing. Usagi is one of those books. Every now and then I'm like, oh, I should be reading that. Like, why don't I get that? Because I tried it out when I was younger, and it was always like, at a certain point, it's always like, well, it's one more book on top of all this other stuff. And then when I heard it's coming to IDW, I'm like, you know what, I'll start getting it when it goes to IDW. And then it's in color, it's like,
you should
not
still
my first
you
choice,
should still
but
give it a try. I think if you like that, I'm hoping Mike orders enough to have some on the shelf, and I'm hoping people are open-minded enough to read a book about a rabbit samurai.
Right.
But it's really good, and it's legitimately. It's both mature storytelling and all ages, if that makes sense.
Right.
It is in the same way that something like Harry Potter still speaks to an adult, but is understandable by a kid. It has nothing inappropriate in it, but it's legitimately dramatic storytelling. And Sakai does a really good job of doing little standalone or solo issues, and then mixing it in with long, sometimes like multi-year story arcs. Grasscutter is a long story, and is sort of like the magnum opus of that book. But he just continued rolling after that, so it's definitely worth checking out.
So after that, we've got Transformers Ghostbusters #1, the crossover everyone demanded.
Right.
I think the notable thing here is that they have a new Autobot called Ectotron, which is the Ecto-1 car in robot form, and I believe there is an action figure coming of this.
So I'm going to assume, based on the cover art, that is the ghost of Starscream.
I'm gonna say no. Oh, you mean just in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So do Transformers have ghosts?
I think so. I think that was
When
established
they
in the
team
old-
up with
I don't know.
Ghostbusters, they do.
I think so.
I don't know, man. I haven't touched a Transformers related thing since I was in grade school in the 80s.
Yeah, no,
but I
think-
don't
think
know.
there is.
Like, so I do love, by the way, that the Ectotron has the goggles
Yeah.
in robot form. I'm not a huge Transformers guy, and I like Ghostbusters, but a little bit I think, do I want to read this? I might want to read this.
Yeah, you do.
Who did it? Eric Burnham. Don't know him.
On 145, we've got Jim Cornette Presents Behind the Curtain Real Pro Wrestling Stories. I've said it before on here. I'll say it now. Old wrestlers always have good stories.
Well, they have stories. That's definitely true.
Well, they're obviously doing the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing
Yeah.
as one of the stories there.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything to 196. So
160s.
On 147, we've got Crow Hack Slash #1.
I saw it and I thought, I don't want to make a snarky comment. There's probably somebody out there like Crow fans are very dedicated, and
Right.
I'm not going to kick them while they're down, But Dan, you kick them while they're down.
I'm not going to kick them when they're down. I'm probably going to pick this up.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were making fun.
I've never checked out Hack Slash.
Nope.
There's so little Crows material anymore,
Yep.
though. I'll probably go ahead and.
That's
get
why I
this.
say kick them when they're down.
I'm
like,
sure
you have
I'm
so
sure-
few things to like if you're a Crow fan.
Yeah.
Like, we
and
used,
I'm sure this is very on brand for the Crow.
oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
I mean,
So,
that cover.
people. There's a group out there that's going to be all about that book.
That cover is, as you said, it is very on brand.
Yeah.
They're in the rain, and they've got
Yeah.
their makeup on, and they look very teenage dramatic romance. Yeah.
On 182, anything before that?
160.
Okay.
God, I want that Haunted Mansion graphic novel. That's my favorite ride at Disney. We have a Haunted Mansion themed bedroom in our house.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so incredibly excited. I am 39 years old, and I'm very excited about a theme park ride graphic novel. I know my wife is going to be so happy when I tell her this is being made. I'm not going to tell her until it's out.
So don't listen to this, Mona.
She won't, don't worry. She has to listen to me enough as it is at home. She sure as heck not listen to me recreationally. She goes to work and is like, wonder what my husband has to say about comic books. No, that seems unlikely.
push play here.
On 182 in the Dynamite section, we've got probably the best title of a book this month is Warlord of Mars Attacks #1. Where we've got the
That's a
Warlord
pretty
of
good
Mars
mashup. You're right, I missed that.
I had missed that
Huh.
too.
crossover. And it's Jeff
Well done,
Parker
Dynamite,
writing.
well done.
Yeah, and of course, there are a slew of variant covers that Dynamite's going to put out for everything they do.
196.
I got nothing until 218.
Okay, so Dreadstar. This is a weird description. Dreadstar Rare Limited Definitive Edition, signed by Jim Starlin. So if you were itching to get a Jim Starlin signature, $30 intro price, so not terrible when you get the
Figured it'd be
first.
way more than that.
Yeah, first 12 issues of the Dreadstar series. Plus comes pre-signed, so its retail price is $70, but it has the intro price of $30. So yeah, and get it signed.
On 211, not my thing, but I know a lot of people here in the store are going to be wanting this, is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid collection will be coming out. I'm sure we'll have that in here for everybody that's been asking for this for a while now.
I just reassured a 90s baby who was in here earlier
Right.
that it's not just you, my friend. People much older than you who should not have a childhood connection to it really love it. Because it's Voltron. Everybody likes Voltron if you grew up in the 80s, so it's as close as you're going to get.
217. Okay, so 217. I was online one time and just saw this random article. It was like the 10 best stories of 2018 or something like that. Thought, I'll click through it. I actually succumbed to one of the ads online, but one of the books they had on there was Abbott. Mm-hmm. All right, so I actually ended up picking this up in trade, and it is actually surprisingly pretty good.
Solid and Undead is good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a 70s. She's a reporter in the 70s, so it kind of has like going on this occult story. So it's 5 issues, not bad, something a little different. So think about picking that up.
230, anybody
I
have
got
anything?
218.
Okay.
I don't know how much I can talk about this on a family-friendly podcast, but I read Faithless #1 today, which is out, and Faithless #3 is in this catalog, and it is the least erotic thriller I've ever read. Now, I'm obviously going to continue reading it because whatever. I ordered 1 and 2. I'm riding this wave all the way back to shore. But, well, I marked it and I unmarked it and I marked it and I unmarked it, and I thought, I don't know how detailed I can really say what my... if you had asked me, do you like Brian Azzarello's writing? I'd have said, yes, I do. And then if somebody had said, do you want to read a Brian Azzarello horror story? I'd have been like, yes, I will read that. I already have. Give me another. And they were like, what if it was about Satan and stuff? And I'd be like, okay, go on. Dark magic? I'm still with you. What if it's about erotica too? And I'd have been like, wait, pump the brakes? and they were like, what if Paul Pope is going to draw these dark magic sex scenes? And I'd have been like, I feel like you're losing me here. So a little I try to remember why I thought I wanted to read the book, but it's oddly interesting. I feel like I watched a French film, and I'm like, I don't know what I just saw, but I'm going to think about it, but not in the way that you're supposed to, and you're like, kind of way. And that's where we are on that, and I'll leave it be.
It's probably like I made the mistake of reading the Discipline issue 1. I don't know if any of you read that one or not. Yeah, well, yeah, it sounds a lot like this. So I didn't read Discipline number 2. Let me just put it out there. But it sounds a lot like that.
Yeah.
It was was it Paul Jenkins?
Yeah, maybe.
Did Discipline 1? I don't remember. Maybe. But it was just like
when the podcast is over, I'm going to grab Faithless. I'm going to flip to the last page. And I'm going to go, what do you think about that, guys? And you're both going to go, put that back on the shelf. I don't need to see that anymore.
Well, that should be bagged and boarded. Children come in.
It really probably should. I wondered about that when I was putting things out. I thought, well, at least we didn't get the polybagged ones. I didn't have to explain that to anybody.
Well, on 230, we've got Charles Schultz's Linus.
That's a fun segue.
Collection of some Linus strips.
Oh, Dan, being our segue Sam over here. Just moving us effortlessly from satanic lesbian books into Charles Schultz. Yes, of course.
I don't have any until $2.99.
But while we're on the dark magic, on 268, man, I love Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And the new Sabrina was really fun, and the new Archie, where the Archie's dating Sabrina, is also really fun. I met Nick Spencer at C2E2, and I had a stack of books for him to sign, and I gave him an Amazing Spider-Man #1 that I had Ryan Otley sign, and so we chit-chatted for a minute about, oh, you met Ryan, blah, 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 and I'm sure he'd already signed 1,000 Amazing Spider-Man #1s that day, and he's like, you got any others? And I said, yeah, and I gave him a stack of Archie books, and he looked so excited that somebody had brought Archie books for him to sign, and he started laughing, and he goes, he's like, oh, it's amazing. And he goes, do you like it? And I said, I love it. And he goes, oh, you're the first person that's brought these to me all day, all weekend. And I'm like, well, I might be the only one, too. And he's like, do you like the Sabrina stuff? And I said, I love the Sabrina stuff. And he was like, yeah. And he gave me a high five. And it was a really fun experience.
Well, didn't you say
it's
when
really
you
fun.
Mark Waid, he had a similar reaction?
And that's what I was going to say, was that 2 for 2 on C2E2 and real comic superhero writers doing Archie randomly. And they're always so happy that somebody acknowledges and appreciates their Archie work. Because I'm totally not their core audience, I'm sure they think. And they'd be right. I'm not.
Well, back on 254, we've got Steel Cage #1 from Ahoy, and it's
which I thought was going to be a Mark Waid wrestling comic, and I was totally down.
Right. Yeah, so it is Mark Waid, though, but it is more sort of like introductory kind of tryout stories for some new books. And I saw where Tom Payer tweeted the other day, someone broke the acronym of Ahoy, but they're still not saying what it is. So, yeah, think about that for a while. Because that's been kind of a game they've been playing online for a while now, and I guess someone finally did figure it out, but they wouldn't say what it was.
What's your next page?
317.
$2.99. Okay, so $2.99. There's an ad here for Mercy Sparks, issue number 13. Now, this has actually got a retailer incentive cover for this, and the main reason why I'm bringing this up because
that name sounds like an adult film star.
No, that is not actually the reason why I'm bringing that up. Like, you could be correct on that. That's not the terms that I'm thinking about, but the variant cover artist for this is named Douglas Paskovich, and he is going to be our featured guest at Berg Comics Con 2019. So he normally does his own self-published book, Arsenic Lullaby. He's done a bunch of variant covers for some of the Valiant books. He did Ninja K and Faith, and he did Archer and Armstrong variant cover. So he is going to be our featured guest August 31st, Saturday, August 31st, 10 to 5 in Harrisburg, Illinois. And I think this is actually, other than on Facebook, this is the second, I guess, official announcement of that. So what you have
I
to
feel
do?
really bad that I stepped all over it with my adult film star joke.
But if you order,
fix it in post.
If you order 2 regular covers, then you get one of the variants for free. It's some weird type of ordering thing. I didn't get all the details
So
on
if
that.
you're going to BirdCon, come tell Mike so you have stuff to have signed.
So I'm gonna have Mike order me at least a couple of these just so I can have them and maybe even do some giveaways with them. But yeah. So anyway, throwing that out there.
Man, I'm gonna dig up some Valiant books for him.
There you go.
On 317, we've got the new Overstreet comic book guide for this year, volume
49.
And
My God,
there's
we're
a
old.
Joker cover and a Zorro cover, and I think those are the only covers.
Yeah, or maybe
I think
not.
that's it. I think that's all anybody would want.
Firefly. Hardcovers and softcovers.
If you like your Millennium Falcon full of Han Solos, you'll love Firefly.
That's me.
On 320, we've got the new issue of Horror Hound, which focuses on the Crow. So double Crow this month for all you Crow lovers.
After all that waiting, just when they gave up.
Yeah.
322, we have Ignited #1 from Humanoids, which is a Mark Waid book, because apparently it's Humanoid's first superhero monthly ongoing book.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
so-
I skimmed right over that.
Well, I just actually the ads, something about the ad caught me. I think I just saw Mark Waid's name, so I thought
yeah.
I better stop and look, and then covers by John Cassaday. So there you got
I think
that too.
Isn't Wade contracted to sort of like be their? He is to them what Gail Simone was going to be to Lion Forge. Is that where Gail Simone went to work? Was Lion Forge? She went to like
Something like
sort of
that,
spearhead their superhero
Yeah.
line. I think Mark Waid is doing that for them. Oh man, I totally.
Well,
forgot
it takes
that was
place in Phoenix Academy High. That sounds like something. I just can't place it.
Maybe they're wizards.
Oh, man. 357.
Yep, I think I'm done with side.
We've got a new printing of Judge Dredd Origins Trade. This is John Wagner writing a really good origin story for Judge Dredd and kind of going into his family tree and things like that, and never, looking up his relatives and things, and just really creative solutions to never showing the face throughout this book. But a really good story, definitely worth picking up.
His dad is actually Stephen Dredd. He's an
Yeah.
accountant. This kind of very boring,
But they're
middle
from
class
a
family,
family with a
suburbs.
very strong family resemblance, and they never show anyone's full face throughout the entire book.
Just Jaws.
Yeah.
I think didn't one of the primary artists for Judge Dredd pass away here
Yes.
the last couple of weeks?
Yes.
I can't remember what his name was, but anyway, so just to bring everybody down there. For
So
a
on
second.
365, are we up to that yet? Where we can all yell at Titan Comics?
Oh yeah.
So the cover of this month's previews.
Well, actually, side 2 of
yeah,
the previews.
One of the covers has Blade Runner on it. And there's a Blade Runner
2019.
tie-in comic, which Scott and I are both big nerds for Blade Runner, and I got real
Variant cover
excited.
by Art Germ.
Yeah, I got real excited. I went to Titan Comics, ready to mark my name in the previews there, and I was like, "Where in the
Yeah.
heck is my Blade Runner?
Where is it? It's
And
not
I
in
flipped-
here.
I thought I know for a fact. I just saw it at the beginning of the Titan Comics section. I go back to the front, and what does it say? Coming in next month's previews. And I thought, well, that's a raw deal. Let me flip back and look at the cover, and sure enough, the cover says coming July 2019.
Insert
So-
sad trombone
Right.
sound.
Titan Comics, you tease.
Yes, so disappointed. So yeah, but oh well.
On 376 from Tomorrow's, we've got Macro Boy, Master of Comics, probably not coincidentally timed with the Shazam movie just coming out. But this
Macro boy meaning large boy?
So focusing on the Golden Age Captain Marvel Jr. artist. So sort of a biography here and featuring some unpublished art and different things and photos. So probably, Tomorrow's usually does a pretty good job on these things. So if you're a fan of his work, this is probably worth picking up. Let's see. No Valiant?
Well, I mean, we can talk about it. I'm going to buy it all. I really did. I looked at it and I thought, well, I'm really excited about this, but no, I'm not sure anybody wants to hear about it. Psylord sounds like Valiant decided we can have the FF too. Now, you tell me what this says. 4 astronauts awake in an otherworldly prison with no memory of how they got there. Well, if I look at them, it sure looks like we decided to go with a, diverse millennial cast to make the Fantastic Four. Yeah. One of them even has his hipster glasses on and his big lumberjack beard. But am I buying it? Yup.
Yeah.
Sure am. It's Fred Van Lente. I love Fred Van Lente.
They had a Psylord's title before.
They did.
It
didn't really have a lot to do with this. It was like it was like a cosmic. was a Cosmic Valiant book, and it was really late in the run when they were really trying hard to come up with something new to keep the ship afloat.
Okay.
And I think it only lasted about 8 issues. And this I think is only related in name. It has really nothing to do with the previous one. The next page has Fallen World, which is another Valiant future book, and I love the Valiant 4001 years. And then on the next page, on 381, Cullen Bunn's Punk Mambo, which he was flat out pushing when I was at C2E2, and it was really funny because he was pitching it to people like, "What are you doing next?" He was like, "I'm doing a book for Valiant. It's called Punk Mambo," and he's going on about it, and people are like, "I've never heard of it." And he looked at me and I said, "I've heard of it. I'm going to buy it." And I'm like, "I have the other ones. I buy a lot of Valiant." And he was like, "Thank you," because he's pitching Valiant to people who normally buy his stuff from like Image and Boom and things.
On 388 from White Owl, we've got the NES Encyclopedia hardcover.
I feel like you and I both know somebody who would very much be a fan.
I think there might be. I think we know someone that could have written this book if he'd taken the
That's
time.
what I was going to say. I feel like we know somebody who will look at this and find the mistakes.
Yo,
and be like, "Oh, that is not accurate,te," and I'll
totally
show
will.
you with photographic evidence why.
So yeah, could you have provided all the photos for the book?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could have had a multi-page fold out of his Dragon Warrior collection.
Yeah.
Right? Just that.
On 414 from Viz, we've got Dragon Ball Complete Box Set and Dragon Ball Z Complete Box Set if you want to get caught up on your Dragon Ball manga. Matt?
No, I'm good. Somebody just today accused me with a picture in front of the Pixar ball at Disney Hollywood Studios. They're like, "It's a Dragon Ball." And I'm like, "It is not. It's a Pixar ball. That's a Dragon Ball." I'm like, I'm not going to stand here
And let you insult me like
That's
that.
right. I would never take a picture of. Not that there's anything wrong with Dragon Ball fans, but one did come in today, and he appeared to be quite strung out. So that's all I'm saying.
Not that those things are connected.
He asked me, "Have you got any Saiyan merchandise?" And I said, "Like Dragon Ball." And he said, "No, Super Saiyans." And I said, "Yeah, Dragon Ball Z." "Yeah." And I said, "No." And he walked halfway out, and he turned around and said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I'm positive." And he looked around for a while anyway, like I was hiding it. Like, bro, if we had it, I'd sell it to you. It's fine. Like, it's not keeping it for me.
Did he say the password, though?
He did not.
See, there
He
you go.
didn't. And he didn't know the handshake either.
Yeah.
I gave him the sign, and he failed.
Yeah, that's what happens. So this month we've got the start of the calendar section. And I want to point out we've got the Batman 80th Anniversary 2020 calendar. Feel like maybe that's off by a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you buy it in 2019, and no, it still doesn't work. There's no way that it works.
From Graffiti on 457, here you go. You got your Wonder Twins Zan and Jaina symbol T-shirts.
Man, I love that book, but I don't think I need them. If I could get my wife to wear one, I
you
maybe
can't get
would.
you and Mona?
I doubt very much she would. But look, of the two, I'm the one that has to say form of a bucket of water.
Yeah, exactly.
She gets to be like form of an angry gorilla or a badass tiger or something. Like I'm like a form of a bucket of water.
Or it's always an ice jackhammer or some nonsense like that they would pull.
I'm a squirt gun, and it's going to be mildly irritating.
That was like when they were on Teen Titans. Like, was it Teen Titans Go or Teen Titans where it had the Wonder Twins on it? That was just like one of the funniest episodes. You know, they just call him in just so that she could change into something and then send him back to like the toilet bowl.
It's one of those. It's one of those powers like Cypher from the X-Men, where like, look, man, if you had that power, it'd be super useful all the time.
Yeah.
But you're not fighting crime, and that's why this is not great. It's not that I can't think of why that would be great to have. I don't want to read a super.
I don't know. I feel like Harvey Birdman still just made the best use of that power when they were on that episode.
Oh man, I don't remember what happened.
It's fine.
I've
We'll
watched
get to
all
it
of them.
later.
We probably can't talk about it on here.
Second side of the book.
I don't have anything to 106. So.
I got page 40.
On 17, we've got the Westworld Select Action.
I know. I almost brought it up, and then I saw what the details were, and I was like, "Oh no, screw that!
Yeah.
I want that maze.
Yeah,
That's what I want. I don't want to buy 3 toys to get that maze. That maze is really cool, and I love Westworld.
Seems like there should be a ton of merchandise with the maze,
Right?
You know,
and there's not. It just feels like there should be a ton of Westworld merchandise in general, but there just kind of isn't.
Well, it's coming. Just wait 5 years. On 34, with the Batman Universe Collector's Bus, we've got 66 TV show accurate Riddler and Penguins that both look pretty good. On there. On 40, we've got the Batman Family Q Master diorama. Looks really nice.
Yeah.
Almost sort. I mean, it's not the same art style, but very reminiscent of Lil Gotham.
Yep. Which was
You know.
was that Dustin? Was that Wynn? Dustin
Yeah,
Wynn?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that looks a lot like Little Gotham to me, and I love it.
On the next page, you've got the DC Cinematic Aquaman Q-Fig for Scott over here because he was such a fan of that movie. I'm sure he'll be picking up a couple of those.
and there's the Captain Marvel figures that spoiled part of the movie for people.
Yeah.
Yep.
On 45, in the Masters of the Universe section, we've got some new retro-style action figures from Super 7. And so we are finally getting Hero and Eldor from the canceled line that they never made back in the day. And so from the pictures here, they're showing Hero in sort of a painted gold torso. They have confirmed it will be the old-school vac metallized gold chrome, which was pretty much a staple back in the 80s. Which you don't see too much anymore, but it'll be a really nice-looking figure. Let's see. Really small Funko section this month.
Yeah.
Considering they usually have like 5
Pages and
at
pages.
least in the catalog.
I don't have a fun thing to say here, but page 69 has a very unsettling Michael Jackson red jacket Kubrick's bear. Like, look at that.
Well, it's
look at that
Thriller,
head.
right?
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
a
but like,
Thriller,
look
but-
at the non-Thriller one that looks like he has, I don't know, mumps or something.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get the cheek detail in there.
It's just a weird
you
looking
can't do
figure.
that.
And also, I don't know, man. I feel like maybe, shall we say, some recent documentaries
Yeah,
make it
now
a
is
little,
not the time.
a little unsavory to be selling
Right.
Michael Jackson merch. So, and having one that looks that creepy is not helping.
On 81, we've got the Batman Ninja Joker 6-scale PVC statue, which looks really cool, but that price tag is just about $1,200 for a PVC statue. I think it's still probably
my.
pretty big. You know, I don't have
Yeah, it
measurements
says
on here.
1/6 scale.
Yeah, so that's a foot-tall figure,
Yeah.
about with this pretty big base and cape, jacket, whatever. But I do think it is supposed to connect to the Batman one, too, so... You'll be paying that twice, probably, to get the whole thing.
Yeah, it says can be displayed with Batman
Yeah.
Ninja. Oh my.
On 91, we've got the Transformers Masterpiece Bumblebee figure, and it looks like it comes with a little spike here.
Really cool looking.
Yeah, so the Masterpiece line is usually quality stuff, but again, you're going to pay more for it.
Yeah.
That's a $120 figure.
I mean,
there.
like, all of my experience with Transformers, as I said earlier, is from when I was in, like, kindergarten, first grade in the mid-'80s. And that looks like what I remember Transformers looking like.
exactly.
And I'm not going to lie, I don't think of myself as a Transformers fan, per se. And I saw those, and I was like,
the thing
those
is,
are kind of
it's-
cool. That
it's
feels
what-
like 1985
It's what
to me.
you remember them.
That-
looking
yeah, that's
like.
what- that's
It's
what I'm
not
saying.
What they were.
Yep.
You know, that's the thing.
It just feels like, it was like I could feel 1985
Yeah,
in my
for
brain
sure.
right there. It was kind of cool. What do you got? Next one.
103.
I got 97. I don't know that I am willing to pay $65 for it, but the Batman cookie jar is really cool. And, you know, did you guys see the Infinity Gauntlet cookie jar when it was in here?
Yeah.
Okay, it turned out way better than I thought it was going
Oh,
to.
really?
And given how much way better that was, I think maybe that Batman cookie jar is going to be really cool, and I'm going to be really mad if I don't get it. So I haven't quite made up my mind on that, but I do like it a lot. On the next page, for you Game of Thrones people, just in time for the show to be over,
Yep.
there's some really nice looking steins and stuff. The ones with the little spinner things at the bottom are kind of cool. And if you've ever done those Metal Earth kits, they have a King's Landing replica model kit for $30. It's really cool looking. I do think it's kind of odd that they're soliciting this stuff now. I know they're thinking, oh, the show's coming back, people are going to be looking for merch, but wouldn't you want to get people like beer steins earlier so you could drink out of them while you're watching the show this Sunday? Just sort of strange.
On 103, they've been in here before, but we've got some new graphic comic boxes of DC Justice, Alex Ross, and then the old Jim Lee X-Men #1. So both pretty nice looking. And I think that's it for me.
106.
I got something on 103. 103 has Star Wars toasters that put an Imperial logo on your bread, but better than that, better is a Millennium Falcon waffle maker.
I do like that. The whole bread thing, I'm like, I don't want half of my bread
No,
toasted.
I know. I always think that too. The Stormtrooper one looks like it toasted better, but
Yeah.
the Darth Vader one looks like you straight up toasted just the part that says Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like crappy toast to me.
Yeah, or it's going to be burnt.
Burnt.
in
That's the
middle,
thing. I think
you
it's, that
know?
part's burnt and the rest of it is toasted.
Right.
So.
But that Millennium Falcon waffle maker
Yeah, that's
is pretty great. What's the cargo? It's waffles. That's in the text. I didn't just make that joke. It's right there. It says it's tasty, delicious, and can make the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Serve up replicas of the Millennium Falcon in waffle form with your very own waffle maker shaped like the Millennium Falcon. What's the cargo? It's waffles. That's amazing.
Is there a specific pattern? Or is it just a waffle pattern in it?
No, it's just
it's got the Millennium Falcon. They actually, yeah.
Oh, it is the details of the chip then.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right? Oh, my syrup got caught in the gun well. That's what it looks like. This is going to be so great.
106. So 106, we got the DC deck building game Rebirth. So if you've played the DC deck builder, it's just a deck construction game. This one apparently adds a legacy campaign element to that game. So I think that sounds kind of nifty. I like the original DC deck builder. And then the only thing I have is like blank covers for, June are going to be Black Cat #1, Silver Surfer Black #1, Robotech 21, Psylords #1 has a blank cover, and there's a Street Fighter 2019 pinup special that has a blank cover. So for all of the Street Fighter fans who need art done.
Right. For their pinup book.
For their pinup book. So they want a custom pinup on their pinup.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm sure there won't be any awkward, weird requests
No.
for that one. I'm very specific. Like, whoa.
That's it?
I think so.
That's
All
it.
right.
All right, so we are going to wrap it up. I think we are planning to do this again in a week, and hopefully by then everyone will have seen Shazam. I've seen it. Scott, you've seen it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so we're still waiting on Dan and then presumably Mike. So, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Mike will be back and be back on the show, and you won't have to listen to me be the host with the least. So, Dan will hopefully have his voice all the way back and not be rolling a 70s R&B vibe on it, and Scott will just be Scott.
There you go.
Yep, as always. So, thanks so much for tuning in. We will talk to you in about a week or so, and as usual, if you need to put these orders in, just come by the shop. You've got about 2 weeks. Like I said, it's due on April 25th. We're recording this on April 10th, so about 2 weeks from now, you've got time to get a catalog, flip through, see the stuff that we highlighted and anything else that you come up on your own, and let Mike know if there's something you want to pick up.
And Matt, if they wanted to contact you, what would be the best way to do that?
Well, I would say that would be probably on Twitter, where I'm at Wookie Copilot, WOOKIEECOPILOT.
All right, and this is Scott Reed, BurgComics.com, BURG, and be at some conventions coming up. Cape Girardeau, Metropolis SuperCon, trying to figure out my schedule for the rest of the year. But you can always find me BURGcomics.com.
And Dan Brown at Detective651, and here at the store on Saturdays. And just another reminder, Free Comic Book Day is coming up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time here at the store. Be sure to come by May the 4th. So,
Yeah. There's nothing else happening that day.
No, right.
That's a totally unrelated and unaffiliated day, you guys. If you've ever been to Free Comic Book Day at the store, and it is a freaking madhouse, but like in the best possible way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's jam full of people who just love comics. It is like a new comic book day, but cranked up to 11, and it's a lot of fun to be here. So if you've never been to an actual Free Comic Book Day, my gosh, do you owe it to yourself to come in and do it. But good luck parking.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's a pain. But that's a good thing.
That's right. All right.
Take care, guys.